Hey guys, this is the video for kindergarten first grade for October week 4. Say hi, I've got a helper with me today. Okay, so let's see. This month is our last week talking about contentment, deciding to be okay with what you have. And so far this month we learned about Paul. God can help you be okay no matter what. We talked about money, stuff can't keep you happy. Last week we talked about wanting what others have can make you miserable. And this week we're talking about the slaves came out of Egypt and they still weren't happy. So don't miss out on what you have now. Okay, before I continue with this video, I have got to turn her toy off because Lola, that's gonna drive me crazy. Yes, it is. You can't have that in the video. Yeah, I know you're happy, but okay. And then our memory verse for this month is, then he said to them, watch out. Be on your guard against wanting to have more and more things. Life is not made up of how much a person has. And remind your kids, if they know this, they can go to the monster that's out by the birthday bear and they can reach in and get a bag of candy if they can tell them their memory verse. And then if you have any kids this week that still haven't been here yet this month, make sure they take one of these bags home. They can get their fall bucket list and their parents can see what we've been talking about all month long. All right, hopping over to our leader guide, excuse me. Ooh, I feel like this might be recording sideways. Is it recording sideways? Okay, we'll see. Just make sure that you get here at 8:30 and 10:30 so that you can huddle up together, pray for each other, and then you can also be praying for your small group kids, just asking God to help them stay focused on what they have now and just celebrating what they can at this phase of life. So then when kids start to roll in at 8:40 and 10:40, make sure you know everybody's name in your group. Make sure any new kids feel very welcome. Oh, goodness. Ask kids about their week. Ask them what they're going to be for Halloween. Ask them to tell you their joke. And then each small group will have a different picture book. So we've got some Mercer Mayer, If You Give a Mouse a Cookie, some Pinkalicious books. And you're just going to read that book to your small group. And then you're just going to ask them which characters needed to learn to be content. Which things did they want that they didn't have? How did the story end? Just kind of reading through it with them, talking about contentment. And then when service starts at 9 and 11, each kid is going to need a piece of paper and a crayon. And you're going to tell kids to write or draw things that they own or things that they are able to do. So maybe they might draw or list some of their toys or games. They might draw themselves playing basketball, baking cookies. And then tell them to keep listing and drawing until it's time to go to large group. And then you're going to collect those papers to use again during the prayer time later on. So you're just going to close that down by saying, wow, guys, look at all those things you have and those things you can do. Those are some pretty impressive lists. Well, we're going to go to large group where we'll hear more about focusing on the things that we have right now. So then you'll head into large group. We have a live host this week, but kids will be watching the video for the story. So just help them to watch that and hear the Bible story. Then when they get back, they're going to play a game called May I. So you have a baggie on your cart that is going to have all of these questions on it. So it's a bunch of different questions that in here, and underneath you'll see in parentheses, it has the age group. So you're going to have all the kids stand against one wall in your space and face you, and you're going to say, so before I ask each question, you're going to pick an age group and pose. So if you pick the baby group, you're going to get down like you're crawling. If you pick like elementary age, you're going to stand like a superhero. And if you pick a teenager, you're going to pretend like you're driving a car. So then you'll call out the age groups and let kids practice. So say baby, and they'll get down on their hands and knees. And so that way they know what the different poses are. And then what you're going to do is you'll say, okay, everybody pose. And they all pick a pose. So they could pick whatever they want. And then you're going to read one of the questions from your bag. And you're going to say, may I take piano lessons? Who would ask that? Probably an elementary age kid. So if you picked the elementary age pose, then you get to take one big step forward. If you picked the baby or the teenager, you have to stay where you're at. So why would an elementary kid pick piano lessons? And you'll just kind of talk through each question like that. And then you can just keep going. You could even re-ask the questions because the kids won't know which age group is coming when they make their choice. So then you'll just close down by saying, so guys, there are some things that you could do as a baby that you can't or definitely shouldn't do now. And there are things that you can do now that you couldn't do when you were a baby and probably can't do when you're a teenager. And there's things you'll be able to do when you're a teenager that you can't do now. But what we need to focus on is the things that we have and the things that we can do now. So what are some awesome things that you can do now? So let kids give some response. Right, guys, so remember, don't miss out on what you have now. And maybe share something that you can do now that you couldn't do when you were their age. And just talk about how you can be content with that. So then for the memory verse review, you are going to make these birds. And so you will have this on each one of your cards. So what you're going to do is you're going to give each kid a paper plate. And they're going to fold their paper plate in half. And they're going to put the label with the memory verse on one half of the plate. Then they're going to open it back up. And then on the bottom half, so kind of opposite, they are going to color in the plate. That's just with markers or crayons. And then they're going to glue some feathers onto it. Then we have these little, just like little diamonds of little orange diamonds. And that's going to be the beak. So they'll put the beak on. Then you got little googly eyes. So they can put their little googly eyes on. And then we've got all these different color little strips of paper. And that's what they can put on for their tail at the back. So then they'll fold it over and it will make a little bird. And on the back side of the bird is the label with their memory verse on it. So that's how they will do that. And you'll just close that down by saying, so guys, in today's Bible story, God sent birds for the Israelites to eat. They probably didn't look like these birds that we made, but we can pretend that they did. And the Israelites had to watch out for discontentment just like we do. So let's use these birds as a reminder to be content. Don't miss out on what you have now because you're thinking about the things that you don't have. That's not the way God wants us to live. Oh, hey. So let's make the wise choice and choose to be content with what you have right now. So then just to pray, they'll need their little birds and their lists from the very beginning. And you're going to hand out the kids' list that they made at the beginning and make sure they have their birds. And then tell kids to look at their list while they hold their birds. And have them take a few minutes to thank God for all the things on their list that they are able to do or that they have. And then you'll just close down in this prayer. And as their parents come, just encourage the kids to show their parents their list and explain why they are important. And remember their bottom line, don't miss out on what you have now. So that's it for this week, guys. I went to an Orange conference this past week and again was just reminded of how important small group leaders are. Without small group leaders, kids would just be coming. They'd be hearing a Bible story and that would be great, but there would be no relational component to it. And that is really what church is all about, just building relationships, encouraging these kids each and every week, praying for them, teaching them how to pray, and just loving on them. So guys, thank you so much for the role that you play in Oak Ridge Kids. I'm so grateful for all of you, and it is just such an important role here at the church. So thank you for serving, and we'll see you on Sunday.